another day, another me, another video. I know. I didn't have a lot in my mind this morning, and that was a pretty okay day, I would say. I feel like the time was slowing down so much more today, but I feel like talking about joy, right? Talking about what we call the best tool ever to be able to bring people to us. And that is simply as it is, your smile, right? You gotta keep smiling if you want to invite people in. I feel like sometimes when we want to be too serious, we're not bringing our authentic selves, right? And if you're too serious in real life, in general, that's something else. But if you're somebody that is a lot more bubbly, a lot more into the joke type of person, I feel like as a brand, as a person that has, let's say, a social presence and you want to build that, you want to solidify that, I think the first part is to understand what is cultivating here about you having a joy, like what cultivates your joy. And that could be the little things, right? I feel like having a hobby, having things that we like outside of just being on social media, definitely brings more of that human part, human life. And I used to be the person that was trying to be too serious, but at the same time couldn't be because it was just not me. And the joy brings people in, the joy invites people in, and the joy makes you feel so much more comfortable talking to other people that you forget everything about you. It's not about you, you're not focusing on yourself, and then you are more comfortable enough to focus on other people. When you ask questions, when you discuss, when you are in a debate too, it's the best feeling ever. When you start to be too serious and you start to focus on you, you start losing the control in a bad way, in the sense that you are trying to be so much more resistant that you are not aware of the little things that helps you to read people and to be able to connect with people. And usually I'm the person that, like I said, I'm more introverted. I can be outside, I can be talking to people, but I love being able to recharge. But when I know that I'm gonna be with people, connecting with people, talking with people, there's that point where forgetting about me makes me and helps me become the joy of the room or the joy of the place I'm gonna be at, because I really don't take myself seriously, but at the same time, I'm being myself, right? And I'm not trying to plan every type of discussion. I'm not trying to plan every type of question. I'm just going with the flow and going with the situation and reading the situation. And sometimes I read the situation wrong. I remember one time, and this is where you can be misplacing your joy why it shouldn't be. I remember way back when I was at university and we were having a project, we were working on a project and getting to shelters and talking to people how they were living there, what was the condition, and where they were coming from to get to that point. And I was with one of my friends, and one of the questions that I asked the guy was, how do you like it there, right? Do you enjoy being there? And he literally answered on the spot. He was like, of course I don't like living here. Yeah, that's me display kind of misplacing the joy and not having that middle ground sometimes, right? Where I can be too excited and too be into the smiley mode, and then I forget where I am. And this is where you have to have that middle ground. But I think most of us, usually people that would be online, that will be on social media, and that are looking to build that audience, the first question they would have would be, yeah, but I don't know what to talk about. You have nothing to talk about because you're thinking too much about you and a lot less about people out there and how you can help them. When you start working on people issues, specific issue or problems, you start having solutions. You start seeing the solutions all of a sudden, right? Because you're getting to a point where you are so not thinking about you, that you enjoy helping people and not thinking about whatever you're gonna say, because it's gonna come very, very, very natural. And for me, for example, whenever I'm trying and forcing myself to have something to say, this is when I have nothing to say, because it's just not that moment for me. It's not my topic. It's not in the day where I even want to talk about it. And maybe I have no idea about what I could talk about that topic. And that could lead us to be in the trap of going with the trendy topics, but having nothing to say about those topics, but getting there because they are trendy. And social media is changing so much now that if before you could go about talking about anything just because it was trendy, nowadays people are getting much more focused into trusting the people they are watching here, because there's just too many people. So the only thing that you have to do is to really much more deepen your knowledge into things that actually interest you, because we are not about just showing one layer of whatever we talking about here. You can be very knowledgeable about YouTube, for example, right? And coming with the strategies and really being able to kind of build somebody presence online and knowing how to get out there and just shine and bright like a diamond on YouTube. But at the same time, if we don't see a human being, people are not necessarily going to trust that, even if you're knowledgeable, right? If you start sharing more of your life into your hobbies, your passions, and not necessarily having to show everything, because you still have that control into it, but at the same time that you're showing a part of you that makes you be human, that makes you enjoy life outside of social media, outside of YouTube, people are going to enjoy that. And this is where, for me, it's not necessarily the easiest, right? Because I'm a lot more used to be private, and I'm a lot more used to not share a lot. And my exercise now is to actually share a little bit more. And that was an exercise like one of the videos that I think I filmed, sorry, 1 to 2 days ago in my kitchen when I was doing crepes. And that was the very first time for me to be able to be in front of the camera and literally just do whatever I would do every Sunday after Mass. That was not necessarily something that was easy for me, because I was overthinking the whole thing. I changed, I think, 3 times, because I was like, I don't look good in those outfits. I don't look good with those colors. And at some point, I was like, you know what? Let it go. Pick something, stick to it, and just talk and speak. That was your plan. That was your mission. And that's not the point where you're trying to script everything. This is your challenge here, where you're actually showing what you are about, right? As a person, as a human. And of course, I'm focusing a lot more into the Advent and into Christmas, because it's very connected to whatever I'm going through, in order for you to even understand my path and where I'm going, because I'm going with you, right? I'm not alone on this journey. So 2025 is going to be another part of that journey. But to me, to get to 2025 is for me to sit down here, go back to the channel, do videos just for the sake of doing them, creating the joy about just making videos, even if it's not necessarily super organized, right? And when the topic they literally comes minutes before the video. Sometimes I'm very inspired from the morning, and sometimes I'm getting here and I'm just talking just like I'm doing now, and things happen. I feel inspired, right? I feel like I have more ideas. And that's something where you have to practice yourself talking to actually find ideas and things you want to talk about most. And you can observe yourself around your friends, and things that actually just draw you naturally, what kind of topic draw you naturally, and then you're gonna see wherever you're placing yourself and whatever you just enjoy talking about naturally in general. But the first part is to create, even the joy of creating content is to really go back to what makes you happy, what makes you feel excited about just being here, not necessarily related to you, but related to people out there. And it could be a friend that shared a story with you. It could be something that just frustrates you out there. And I kind of shared a bit of things that would frustrate me a bit, and then things that would excite me a little bit more, right? So when you get here, the plan is not to be too serious from the get go. The plan is to become serious and to become your most authentic, natural self that you can be. But you have to start somewhere. You have to be able to just create the content for the sake of creating the content. Otherwise, you're gonna be stuck and you're not gonna have any ideas of what you want to talk about. And the point of all of that that I'm talking now about is just the joyful part about talking, because you're thinking about people out there and you want to share stories. It's like when you are with your friends. Those joyful moments, they happen just because they're so natural, right? It's the same here. And especially on YouTube, where, like I said yesterday with Brett Cooper, where everything that was happening, we see all the popularity that she got was because she was very much like herself. It was her personality. You could see that, right? It wouldn't be another Brett Cooper. It would be her, and it was her. Now for you is the same thing. It's like, who are you related related to other people when you are with other people? And there's a different type of content that you can create, right? You don't have to show your face all the time. You can show things and explain them. You can go with interviews. I feel like it's the best way of just finding that joy, at least to store it, and having something that is so unscripted, where you just put the camera on and then you're so talking and you are with somebody that you trust, and then just start debating, discussing, just sharing any topic that you have in mind, right? And make it a plan for you to not make it scripted. I think it's just the point. Don't make it scripted. Otherwise, at some point, you're not finding that joy no more. And for me, I started losing the joy because I was so stuck in my head, because I had to find specific ideas. It had to be super organized, super clear in my mind. And then the more I was waiting, the more I was just not doing anything. And recently, I was watching a video from Peter McKinnon that I like a lot. It was one of those people, gurus, I would say, that I watched so much when I was trying to understand the camera gear and all the technical part. And he's so another one with a great personality that was not trying to be serious, but at the same time that was sharing a lot of knowledge regarding camera in general and photography and videography as well. And he was saying that his way of just coming about with topics and being in front of the camera is actually to just do it, because the more he was waiting to actually create the content that he wanted to create, the more he was literally abandoning even the idea. He was not doing it at all. So it was the thing where you're planning everything, you over planning it, and then because it's so far in your mind, and then you keep pushing it to next week, next month, next year, and I don't know when, you start just not doing it at all, and you're not proud of yourself. You're not feeling great about it, because it's a plan that you wanted to kind of do. It was not just a plan, it was something that you wanted to do. So the gap between you creating the content and actually doing the content and being in front of the camera to actually do that, produce it, has to be very short. And even if it's imperfect, you are still at the beginning. Enjoy it. There's still nobody that's gonna judge you that much, right? You're not in front of 1,000 people. You're not in front of a million of people out there, right? So enjoy it. Take advantage of it, because then at some point you're gonna be so hard on yourself, but at the same time you're gonna be so knowledgeable, so comfortable in front of the camera, that you wouldn't even care about that, right? Because you're gonna be practicing it too much. So the key is not necessarily to be creative and having the virality, like the fact that the video gets viral. The point is just to keep being better at it. Keep crafting, keep being better at your craft. That's how you create that joy, right? And by creating things around the topics that you like, you are cultivating the joy of just creating the content. And that's how you keeping that joy alive. And a lot of YouTubers out there, I did a videos about Vanessa Lau quitting YouTube, and then now she's back, but it was the same thing because at some point you're so stuck into doing the same thing again and again and again and again because of the views that you're forgetting the joy of creating content no more. Like literally, not necessarily no more. You forgetting the joy, you losing the joy of creating the content. So even if you don't have the perfect accent, if you even if the words are not necessarily perfect because English is not your first language, just like me, even if, do it. Just do it. That's all I can say. That's how you're creating that joy. And all the videos that I'm doing now, I feel an ease because I don't need to think about the technical part that much, even though I love it. But I realized that because of the technical part where I had to set up everything, my camera, the lighting, the setup, the whole setup, and it was taking me a lot more time, I was not finding the joy anymore. And because I let the time pass by so much, I forgot how to set up the entire space to actually be in front of the camera. So it would take me a lot more time to connect everything, to plug the lighting, to understand where the lighting needs to go, to understand where I need to plug on my mic, on my laptop, and how that works. It's something that you need to do almost all the time for you to not even forget that. But when it takes you so much time, you're just giving up onto the whole idea because you're just like, you know what, I'm too tired and I'm not perfect, right? I love to do things, but I love to be literally on my couch watching TV and not doing much. So when I have to go out there and starting to just being back here in front of the camera, I want to make it as simple as possible for the return. And then after that, you're making it better because you just know and just do. So it doesn't make you, it's not challenging for you as much. So that was something that I shared today. I hope, really hope it made sense because I think the point was just to creating and cultivating the joy of creating the content. And then I definitely went into multiple directions, but the idea is to go back at finding that joy again and again and again and again, to be able to be in front of the camera even if you feel like you have nothing to say. That's the key. It's probably simple but not easy. I've been through that so many times. So many times I was just giving up and I was like, I'm not doing it. And then I planned it and then I didn't do it. And then I planned it again and then I didn't do it again. And last thing that I wanted to say, because I just remember that, one of the things that I'm gonna start doing more is to stop making promises into me coming back and be consistent, because it's the promise that I need to keep to myself, right? Whatever I'm gonna say at this point, I might say that and then the next day I'm not there anymore. And then I'm coming back months later and I'm like, I'm so sorry, guys. Yes, I've been away. Yes, I was busy. Yes, it's not gonna happen again. And then I do it again. And at some point, this is how you just never have the trust of the people out there watching you. And I understand. And that's why I understand a lot of people just enjoying watching those videos, because I see a lot of new subscribers. And I understand that I can let you down just because of me saying all of those things and never necessarily keeping that promise. So something that I want to do more is to actually do and less of saying it, right? That I'm gonna do it. So if I start to be more consistent, that's gonna be a great thing. But it's something that I'm gonna have to work within myself to be able to make it happen, and not necessarily just saying for the sake of saying it. So that was everything that I wanted to share with you today. I hope it made sense. I hope it was helpful. And definitely keep subscribing. I'm just happy for people that find this channel and they find that they actually have something useful that they can learn here, right? That I actually can share something helpful for you. So I'm happy about it. Working on the boot club for 2025, where we're gonna talk more about womanhood, about Mary, about us being Catholics. If you are Catholic and you want to deepen your faith, that's gonna be a really great book club. If you're a woman and you want to find that confidence within yourself to be able to be out there on social media, on YouTube, and building that brand, but not necessarily the new age way, that's how I'm gonna call it, but really getting back to the basics of God, your relationship with Him, and as a Christian, what we can do, because there's a lot of things that as Christians we have into our own faith. The Bible is a great start. I'm just saying, and then the rest is really, as a Catholic, all the theology and history behind it, and a lot more into really getting to the nitty gritty of you being out there and successful at whatever you do, because it's aligned with what God wants for you. And that's gonna be great. That's gonna be great. And then the next thing is that if you want to work with me as a coach and you really want to work one-on-one into really developing that confidence into being here, showing up in front of the camera, finding your voice and finding your God-driven purpose, I'm your person. So let me know down below if you are interested. There's a lot of things happening for 2025, but those are the main things most likely to happen. So we'll work hard at it, and we will be praying God always. And for the rest, I'm gonna be there as much as I can. And like I say all the time, keep smiling because it's free and contagious in a good way.